All right, guys, got a joke for you.
Go.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Wonder Woman 84.
Wonder Woman 84 who?
Sorry, I felt like with this script I didn't really need a joke this week.
And that is the joke.
You're accurate for saying that, but it's about as cringy as the movie itself.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
you know.
Well, we do what we can. Well, hello, people of the internet. Welcome to our first ever YouTube only video. We decided with Wonder Woman 84 coming out over this past holiday weekend that we were going to do a quick review here of our thoughts on the film instead of dedicating an entire podcast to it. You guys can expect to see some more videos like this from us in the not so distant future for things that don't warrant a full podcast episode.
It or not.
Yeah, like it or not, we're going to do it, and you're going to subscribe somewhere in here in this vicinity below my head or next to my head up or something. There's a like button and a subscribe button, and we need you for that. So
yes,
so Wonder Woman 1984 released simultaneously in theaters as well as streaming on HBO Max. The first title from HBO Max to have 4K Ultra HD with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, which is a big deal for their streaming service over there at Warner Media. Film directed by Patty Jenkins, who came back after directing the first Wonder Woman back in 2017. Film stars Gal Gadot as Diana Prince, Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva, and Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian himself, as Maxwell Lord. So, gents, I want to kick this off by being a little bit positive, because this movie was not maybe the movie for me, but I want to go ahead first and, Nick, what did you like about this film?
I'd say the acting, actually. I think all the main characters did a great job portraying their characters. Gal Gadot absolutely killed Wonder Woman as always. In the first one, she set the bar even for her brief cameo in BVS. She was great in that. And even in the botched Justice League version with Mr. Whedon, still shined. And I'm sure with the Snyder cut, she's going to be great in that. But we got to see a little bit more from Gal's non-action-y side, which was nice. I'll say that she was able to nail those emotional scenes well. Chris Pine, for him coming back, he did well. I think even Kristen Wiig, she did a lot better than I expected, I'd say, for her role.
Same.
And I mean, she cleans up nicely. I have to say, that black dress and heels was also unexpected. But
it worked as intended.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely buy that dress. But I honestly think the man himself, Mr. Pedro Pascal, the Mando, I think he kind of stole the spotlight.
Yeah.
For sure.
It almost seemed like he had just as much screen time as Wonder Woman.
He might have had more.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
he
more.
might have had a little bit more. Yeah.
And I mean, but for the sake of, I'd say just, the direction of acting goes, I think they all performed well. I definitely would probably lead with that. Corey, you might want to talk about maybe the cinematography. I thought the cinematography was really cool. They had a lot of cool shots. There were a couple parts where I think the CGI was a little bit more noticeable.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but you could definitely tell that. Oh, that's definitely CG, like the beginning with the whole, I don't know what you want to call it, like the Olympic Games sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
like
the prologue.
Yeah, and it's not bad. It's not like this is the Phantom Menace and we're using this sort of CGI the first time, right? But it's also
working.
But it's also not like, hey, this is the Mandalorian set. We're using this new state-of-the-art technology, and you're like, well, that looks real.
Which, by the way, is a TV show.
Right, exactly. It's TV show. This is a big budgeted movie, pre-COVID, and it's sort of like, and I don't know if it was because it's in 4K or not. And granted, it looked great on my TV, but I'm like, I don't know. Some of the parts, like, they could have looked better, graphically speaking. Of course, I think the shots and the ideas for the angles and whatnot was good.
Okay.
So I'd say I'd probably go with those two things.
Cool. Kevin, how about you? What did you think?
It was
Positive
pretty.
wise. Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty. No, I mean, to echo Nick, I mean, the acting was fantastic. They did a really great job with what was put in front of them.
Yeah.
I would say, Chris Pine, actually, I would love his performance. I thought he pulled off the Lost in the Future kind of, like, the whole bewilderment and like, oh my God, all of this is new. And,
Yeah.
like, just seeing his face light up when he saw the jets fly over and like all that kind of stuff. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig, super surprising. I was like, when they announced her, I was like, this should be interesting, because obviously she can pull off the comedic parts, fantastic, yes. the feel good parts, but she can kick ass too, which is really great. So yeah, and it was really pretty. Like I said, I mean, it was shot well. It looked good in most aspects. I agree with you, Nick. There were some times when, and I don't even know if it was like necessarily CGI quality, right. But she was too fluid. Like, if she jumped from like a great distance, the landing was just like too graceful to look realistic. You know what I mean? Like, she just kind of floated in, and it was just too, I don't know, too effortless or something like that. And I get that she's like this Amazon whatever, and she should be super powered, but not like that. I mean, Superman doesn't even land like that. It just was. It was right. That was a little weird for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will echo what the two of you said. It's a good looking film. From the cinematography standpoint, the prologue and the epilogue were shot in IMAX. So you probably noticed when you watched on your television, the aspect ratio changed. Anything that's filmed in large format like that just looks gorgeous. But to a degree, that's like a good thing, but also a bad thing, because it makes the rest of the movie look nowhere near as good. Another movie that I just watched recently was Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film that was supposed to come out over the summer. That thing shifts aspect ratios like every other scene. And I get it. Nolan loves IMAX and it looks incredible, but when it keeps shifting back and forth, it's almost like you're watching two different movies in terms of the image quality. So I kind of liked how it was just the beginning of the film and the end of the film were in the large format, and everything else took place in like a traditional 235:1, which is the Hollywood standard for aspect ratio. But I thought the actors did a good job. I cannot see anyone else on the face of this planet playing the character of Wonder Woman other than Gal Gadot.
No, she's fantastic.
I was real skeptical about her when the casting was announced for Batman versus Superman, and I was very happy to be wrong about that. I think she carries that mantle both in the films and in her personal life. She does a lot of charity and philanthropy, and she's a great person and kind of carries the torch of Wonder Woman in a really great way, which is awesome. I still think, regardless of whatever issues we get into, Patty Jenkins is a terrific director. Still very excited for her to do a Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
Clearly, with the script that was in hand, she did what she could with it. And again, it looked great. I thought the music was pretty good too. Hans Zimmer did the score for it. Particularly in that prologue, the music was pretty solid. So, it was a fun way to spend 2.5 hours. I didn't have to pay anything extra for it because of HBO's new way of doing things, which may or may not stick after 2021. Who knows? But let's dive into what we've been waiting to get to, which is the stuff that didn't really sit well with us. So Nick, you got first crack at the positives. So Kevin, I'm going to let you tear this apart first.
I mean, I'll just say, like, I'm so thankful that this was straight to HBO Max, because I'd be a little annoyed if I'd paid, $15 or something to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
And strictly because of this terrible script. I mean, it was just it's not even just the plot, but some of the dialogue was terrible too.
Yeah.
But mainly it was the plot. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just so such a they just phoned it in, man. It was like, well, how can we get back some of these characters? Like, we'd really love to have Steve Trevor in it. Too bad he's dead. Oh wait, I know. What if we just wished him alive? Like, come the fuck on, man. Like, that was just
Oh man.
it was just too easy. Was I happy to see Steve Trevor again? Absolutely. Do I wish it would have happened in a different way? Absolutely. Come on, give me time travel, give me a multiverse, anything
It's
but
not like
this.
DC does those, right?
Right?
Something
Anything
like fictionally
but
plausible.
but the monkey's paw,
Yeah.
make a wish bullshit.
Well, and the worst thing
that-
about it was it's not even Steve Trevor. When
Yeah,
when
it's not even him.
they're showing you Chris Pine's face so that you as an audience member can realize that she's like communing with his soul or some weird shit like that, because when he looks in the mirror, he sees the other guy.
Right.
Yep.
Like, what is that other guy doing? Where did his soul go during this? Like, did he get
Yeah.
fired from his job because he hasn't shown up? Is he married? Does he have children? Like,
Yeah.
what? She sleeps with him.
Yeah. Yeah. What if he had like a venereal disease? Is she immune to that? We don't know.
Like, who the
You know?
hell knows, man?
They don't have men on Themyscira. Like,
I'm sorry. This is still your moment, Kevin. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to steal your thunder there, but good Lord, the Steve Trevor thing bothered me. But
no,
keep going,
it bothered
please.
me too. But I'll say this, right? The Pedro Pascal's character, that he dealt with this whole wish thing and really well, right? That he played that as well as that could be played. Even with Kristen Wiig's care, with Cheetah coming from this desire to be more than she wanted to be, I could probably stomach that if you had not thrown Steve Trevor in there.
Yeah.
It just
Okay.
it fucking ruined it for me. And I couldn't get past it. It was just such a dumb way to bring him in. So yeah, I mean, that's my main sticking point. It's kind of funny because I think all of us initially after we watched it, we're like, oh, it was all right. And then the more we thought about it, we were like, no, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not all right. I wanted to like it. And
Right.
you gave me all of these reasons to like it. But this one reason in the middle just went, no. Yeah,
Yep.
I can't let you do it.
Yep.
I have more reasons than that, but Nick, I'll let you share what you didn't like about the film before I just completely tear it to shreds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think definitely the script was terrible. I don't blame Patty Jenkins for that. I think again she did with what was the best she could with what was handed to her, and again her job as a director was to direct, and that's what she did. And for that sake, like people might say, oh, well, do you have any hesitation for her being on a future Star Wars film? I don't, because two things. I'd say number one, if she gets to write the script because she feels passionately about that, then I'll feel more comfortable because I think she's a great director. Now, I do believe that this has a very heavy tone on feminism, which again, women's rights are important and all that. And, but as I'm watching it with a woman right beside me, and if she's tearing it to shreds and is sick and tired of seeing this, I'm sitting here going like, do I comment on that? Like, and she's like, I'm tired of seeing this shit. And I'm just like, well, I mean, it was a thing. I get it. It was the 80s, but things have changed since then. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's a trap. And I mean, like, I think they could have sure highlighted it, but then just not like, it's like overkill, like if you want something to stick, don't blow it out of proportion.
Sure.
And I think it does that. And again, that's bad writing, bad script, no good.
Yeah.
I mean,
all you have to do to explain that is say she's the daughter of Zeus.
Mhm.
which
And that's
they
it.
don't
They don't even
say.
talk about it.
They don't bring, and she's like freaking out about the gods, and I'm like, so we're getting more god involvement, and
And then we
I didn't
don't.
really get right, and then it just goes away, and it's like, where did that moment go? Down the toilet,
Yeah.
where the rest of the
I was
script
really
is.
looking forward to that. Oh, there's all these different gods, and some of them are bad gods, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe we can go a little bit further than we did
Yeah, we're
last time with this whole
remember,
god thing. And
yeah, maybe a better act that involves the gods that you
yeah,
inevitably came from. So let's actually go into that mythology, because I know it's a little bit sticky with comic mythology and Greek mythology. Um, you know,
yeah, but
where it
Marvel
all
pulls it off.
yeah, that's I was like saying, like for a comic book series that's also creating a vast universe, cinematically speaking, of course, too. Marvel has not come to this problem. Their execution has been rather well. It's worked out rather well from them. Why is it that DC is having this problem? Well, I guess we could do a whole other video on that, but I just say for the part that I just again, where's the explanation? Like, there's a whole coliseum of women. And I like how, the woman sitting next to me goes, there's a lot of women, young women. How are they reproducing? And I'm like, that is a very, very good question. Unless there's something that I don't know of, within the comic book
Right.
history, that further explains the Amazonian culture, that women just spring up in the ground like dwarves in Lord of the Rings. As Gimli's saying that to Eowyn.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case here. So again, it's just more holes, more lack of explanation. Just bad storytelling, and
if there is an explanation from the comics, just say it. It's a 5-second line. That's all it takes to explain that.
Right,
exactly. It's just
30
just say
seconds.
It's a 2.5-hour movie.
Right, and that's the other thing.
And you spend all of this time showing her like competing in this game, right, and learning her lesson about not telling the truth and cheating and all that kind of stuff. Great, right. Fantastic. But why is she a child and everyone else is not? If you all came from the same place, shouldn't you all be kind of the same age? Because you don't age, you don't die. So how's she gonna grow up? Like none of that fucking makes sense. Just make her the same age. You know? Oh, this is my mom. She looks the same because we're the same.
Because we're gods.
It's okay. That's fine. Because we're Amazonians. Like, it's fine.
And again, like, they could have done that and maybe elaborated a little bit more, because she's the daughter of Zeus.
Right.
But they failed to include that kind of important detail. And
they mentioned that in the first movie, but that first movie came out 3 years ago now, and the general public is not going to remember that. So you have to remind them. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to beat people over the head with this kind of stuff,
right?
Or else the movie makes no damn sense.
And not to mention again, like you talk about the suspension of disbelief, and even though this is a completely fictional movie, you're just trying to go with very normal themes here, and those don't get pinpointed enough throughout this entire movie. And it's like the whole wish thing. It's like, what?
It's dumb.
Like,
it's real dumb,
especially for the year we've had. Right? That shit does not fly. I'm sorry, man. Like, you can't just pick up a magical stone that you found in Egypt and be like, I wish for this year to end, and then suddenly the entire universe just explodes. Like, I'm sorry, that shit's not going to happen, right? Like, it's not feasible, and I don't know why they even decided to do that for a movie.
I don't know. The wish thing. Is it my turn? Can I go now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. So the wish thing is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And here's the reason why. Because it's the easiest out you could ever write into a script.
Yep.
All we have to do to defeat the bad guy is renounce a wish. Wonder Woman's powers start to diminish, which is kind of similar to like Spider-Man 2, when Peter Parker's powers start to go away because he's not happy and he's not emotionally there. Right. No, this is because she made a wish that she could have her boyfriend back, and he came back into the body of some guy that just lives around the corner from her, And then she says, all right, well, I know what I have to do. I give up my wish. And now she can fly. They fly now, right?
Yeah, they fly now.
So that's just ridiculous. Two, the prologue, like Kevin, you mentioned, she learns during that taking shortcuts and cheating is the wrong way to go. And it's not how you want to live your life. You would have thought that somewhere else in the movie, they would have touched on that. Or like in the third act, when it's time to face the big bad, in this case, Max Lord,
Right.
something about cheating and taking a shortcut would come back up to bring the movie full circle. And it's a lesson that she learned when she was young, when the rest of her society was not young, and it would work. But for some reason, it doesn't happen. And it's really peculiar. And,
Very.
you know, I love that they tried to go like the cheesy 80s Richard Donner Superman kind of look for a lot of the stuff. I actually dug that visual language. I thought that was pretty
I thought
cool.
it was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
But there were no action scenes in the movie. She stops the ball robbery. There's the car chase sequence, and then she fights Cheetah for like 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Before she goes and uses the lasso of truth, which, for the record, like, it's never used to elicit the truth from anyone in this movie. It's used to like stop bullets and shit and help her lasso clouds so she can fly. They fly
And as
now.
she says, to help people understand the truth.
You can show
Yeah.
it also
I can
shows
show
them
you the
things.
truth.
Right. I can show you the world, blah, 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 blah. It became like a Swiss Army knife instead of the lasso of truth.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's the only weapon she's got because she doesn't have the God Killer sword anymore because she used it in the first movie and she doesn't want to go that way or whatever. That's cool. I get that. But that stuff was a mess. She says early in the movie that she doesn't have a TV when Pedro Pascal's character offers her one. And then later on in the movie, she literally has like 6 TVs in her little closet that she keeps track of people with, which I thought was funny. When they take off in the plane, they say it's the 4th of July. But before that, everyone is wearing trench coats and boots. And it's Washington, D.C. I don't know if you've ever been to Washington, D.C. in the summer. It's fucking hot there. Like,
it is
weird little shit that didn't line up and didn't make sense. And then at the end of the movie, it's just Christmas all of a sudden. And I don't know. It just, the whole thing with the TVs, Max being able to touch as many people as possible because of particles that come out of the television. And she stops him by him renouncing his wish. And then he goes back to Washington, D.C. and he finds his son and there's nothing wrong with him anymore. And he doesn't go to jail or he doesn't die. And his son hugs him and says, I love you anyways, even though he was like a horrible sack of shit to his son during the movie, which I thought that was one of the most interesting things thematically was how horrible he was to his son. And I thought that would pay off in a slightly more interesting fashion, but alas, it
also
did not.
Wouldn't it have kind of been nice had they even spent 4 seconds explaining why his health was declining?
Yeah.
Because he made a wish.
But it was never, it never, like, okay, I get it. If you make a wish, you have to give something up.
Sure.
And you have to give up the thing that is nearest and dearest to you. That was his health?
Yeah, not his kid. What a douchebag.
So that just shows you don't give a shit for your kid. So
fucking stupid. One thing that was a complete mixed bag for me, the invisible jet.
Yeah.
Wanted to see it for so long, or not see it, as it were. And I thought, okay, so if you're gonna do this to say, oh, my dad used to be able to make things invisible, blah 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 blah. Cool. I'm with it. That's fine. However, if you go to the Smithsonian, you cannot steal a jet. And if you can, it does not have enough fuel in it to fly to Europe. Come the fuck on.
Yeah,
it's just fueled up and ready to go on the tarmac.
All the way to the Middle East, baby.
And by the way, what jet like that seats you side by side?
Yeah, from the 80s, mind you. From the 80s.
Yeah, we've all seen Top Gun. You're always riding front and back, like. Yeah, and maybe that's just my ignorance about jets. If any of you viewers out there know that jet actually does seat you side by side, please, for the love of God, let me know.
Leave it in the comments below.
Yes, leave it in the comments
Subscribe.
below. Give us one of these. But It's another one of those missed opportunities where this could have been something really cool.
Yeah.
And it just kind of fell flat because there was absolutely nothing about it that was feasible.
I wasn't going to go to my notes on my phone for this, but I just kind of had to.
Oh no.
Because like
pulling out the notes.
Because it's a
Sorry,
lengthy.
guys, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah. I mean, we've hit on most of them already, but it's kind of like, I think, Corey, you said it in our group text. The more we think about this movie, or rather the less we think about the movie, the more we like it. But it's so hard to just not think about what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because it's like Kevin, you said, imagine going to the movie theaters with your significant other, or your wife and kids. You're spending 30, 40, 50 bucks to go see this movie, and you walk out and it's like, well, that was a waste of time. Like I'll wait till it comes to Redbox, or to come up to Amazon or whatever online, so I could rent it for $3-4. So it's almost like we kind of dodged a bullet, much like Wonder Woman didn't in the movie, where I was like, she's getting hit by bullets. That doesn't happen. Why? And they're not explaining it. And I'm like, she had to give up her powers as she's losing them through that entire fight with the tanks and the cars.
She still wins that fight.
Yeah, with
her and Steve Trevor win.
Is a guy who's in another exoskeleton, basically.
Right. Who just happens to know how to drive a tank like it's Tokyo Drift, and
jump from a 1940s airplane into a goddamn fighter jet and just go, this, no. Oh, there's probably this. Also, where were their oxygen masks?
Yeah, I think I put like
that whole scene just pissed me off, man. It just, if you want to do like a Quinjet kind of thing, great, fantastic. Somehow she's got some money, she's got some technology. There's this invisible jet. Great. That's probably more believable than the bullshit that we got in this movie.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think, I put, it's like one of those talk show hosts, like who was it? It says it's like, pick a car, any car. It's like, pick a jet, any jet. Like, it's like, I was brought back from the dead so I can fly any jet I want from the Smithsonian. Awesome. And the other thing that kind of annoyed me was just, she mentions a trick from her dad. Who?
Yeah.
Zeus that throws lightning bolts. That dad, or like another dad that we don't ever see on the island that only women live on.
And how easy would that have been for Trevor to go, you mean Zeus? That's all they would have had to do.
Right.
That is all they would have, he knows, just say that.
Yeah, I think it would have been better to say like, oh damn, Zeus taught you this? Like what are we about to see here?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like this is something she's only tried.
He's not even phased.
50 years.
She made like a coffee cup disappear, she said, was the only thing that she'd been successful with prior to an entire jet.
So this is the second time you've tried something in 50 years, and you go from a coffee cup that goes to about, ironically, about this size to a jet that's, the size of a house.
That's like, guys, hey, I'm going to go, I'm running the Boston Marathon this weekend. Awesome. Have you been training? Yep. I did a half a mile yesterday.
Or for comparison's sake, this is the fourth time we've made a video for YouTube. It's still terrible, and we're still awful. We're not good at it yet. It's just not the way things work. That's not how the Force works, guys.
The funny thing is we don't have a script for this, so ultimately it's already better than Wonder Woman 84. Yeah, we talked about the language of the gods.
I think that we probably would have been more surprised had DC given us a great film than we are right now.
Hey, I'm hopeful though.
I mean, I hate to say that because all of us here love DC characters. We all do.
I mean, I'm wearing a freaking
absolutely
shirt. So,
but come on.
Yeah, I think
you got to try harder.
We were let down a little bit, and I'm not placing blame on Patty Jenkins or Gal or anything like that. But I think scripts.
Yeah, some movies are good, some movies are bad. There are some DC movies that I like. There are some that I did not like. I'm still going to watch all of the new ones that come out. You're going to tell me that they're going to do a Flashpoint movie. I'm going to watch it. You're going to tell me that we're going to get like an R-rated Batman with Robert Pattinson just beating the piss out of people.
Cool.
And the Riddler is the main villain. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Hey, he had me at I Am Vengeance.
Right. You're gonna give James Gunn a Suicide Squad movie and let him be as batshit crazy as he can be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it, and it's gonna be fun. But this one, it's a miss. It is what it is. I'm sure I think I already read that they're fast tracking a third one.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'm gonna watch that one.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And
I'm just not gonna have as high a hopes for that as I did for this.
Right.
But I think the cool thing would be is how great would it be for us and for the trilogy of Wonder Woman for that to be the best one out of the three.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because right now it's obviously 1, 2. So if 3 could, at this point, I'm just hoping it's better than the second one. And of course, I mean, we all know as movie lovers that the sequels are hard to be better than the first one. Right. So it's very rare that we can have a second movie in a trilogy be better than the first one. I think we could probably only count like on one hand how many times that's actually happened.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Two Towers.
Maybe Godfather.
I think Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not that often though.
Right. It's
Spider-Man
rare.
2 with the Tobey Maguire one. I think that's the best of the 3.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I would agree with you. I think Spider-Man 2 is probably one of the best ones out there.
Maybe more often than we thought. Actually.
Yeah, but still,
right.
Like,
but still not
on
not
hand,
that
but
often.
You have to still think about like Ant-Man 2. I don't think is as good as Ant-Man 1.
No.
Iron Man 2.
Nowhere
Thor-
near as good as Iron Man 1. Dark
Thor
World is
2.
horrible. Like, all the Fantastic Four sequels, all the X-Men sequels. They're
Winter Soldier.
All the Fantastic Four movies.
Winter Soldier, though.
Winter Soldier is better than the first one, and better than the third one also. But
yeah,
so it's a tough, it's a balancing act, and it's not
so
always
you
easy
guys
to do.
can all see that we are not being just DC bashers. Marvel has some misses too.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Marvel made some bad movies. The Dark World is not a good movie.
No,
it's just
still loved it because Thor, but
right. Hemsworth and important. So
I don't love that movie. I will happily say that I don't love it. I think I've only seen it like twice because it just didn't do it for me. But
yeah, I've only watched it a few times myself. So it's
Ragnarok though.
That's what I'm saying. The third movie could just come around and just rock our world.
You got to get the right director with the right script and just knock it out of the park.
Ragnarok our worlds.
All right, boys.
I will say two good points. If we're going to come around and give it a little positive note.
Okay.
The gym scene with Kristen Wiig.
It's pretty fun.
That was funny.
It was pretty hilarious when she's like lifting like a 10-pound dumbbell, then she goes to like maybe like a 30-pound dumbbell, and then she goes
straight to deadlift,
clean and deadlift, and then clean and pressing like 315 pounds. And I got the outfits, those 80s outfits,
the dude bros in the outfits.
Oh, it was fantastic,
dude. It's so great.
Super funny.
I mean, it's
total Jane Fonda workout gear there.
Yeah, the outfits were great. That was really cool. Probably one of the better scenes in the movie, actually, and writing. And then the post credits scene was actually pretty
and there
cool.
was no dialogue.
The post credits was great because I wasn't really I knew there was a post credit scene. I didn't really know what to expect, but I was like, that's Linda
Carter.
Yeah.
All right,
the OG Wonder Woman, but she's like supposed to be a story.
And are they kind of teasing there?
I wondered that.
They're kind of teasing that they're going to pull her character in for part 3, maybe, which would be super interesting. And
that's the only relevant thing that's being sort of tied around in this movie when Wonder Woman, Diana references the armor, right, from the greatest warrior that supposedly died while battling men, and then she's off in some town holding up light poles that are falling on people, and it's like, so she's not dead, maybe. Yeah.
It leaves some question marks and some mystery as to where they can go. But all right, boys. So to wrap this thing up, Nick, out of a 10, what would you give this?
Yeah, I said earlier that I give it a 6 out of 10. So I'll stick with that. I'll stick with that.
6 out of 10. Kevin, how about yourself?
As bad as the story was, it was still an entertaining couple of hours in several different ways. Like I said, so I'll stick with Nick. I'll give it a 60, which is still an F. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's true.
Ain't
It's still an F.
passing.
Well, I guess I'm gonna be the bad guy here and give it a 4.5.
Let me guess, 4.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess that. Yeah.
It just I couldn't. I don't have any desire to see it again, which is fine. And and if there are a lot of people on the internet that loved it, and I'm happy that they did, and I'm excited for them that it spoke to them, because there are movies that speak to me that other people don't like. Last Jedi, okay, I said it, I meant it. Nick, you hate it, that's fine.
No comment here.
No comment, but like that way, if there are people that like this movie, that's awesome, and I'm happy for them. It was it's not like I'd say give me those 2.5 hours back. It just wasn't the movie for me, and that's okay. So so that's gonna wrap it up for this video here. If you guys like what you see, typical YouTube stuff, subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, comment below, all that fun stuff. You can also check us out on our podcast feed over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We are going to be covering a little bit of wrap up on The Mandalorian. And then as WandaVision kicks off in mid-January, we will be recapping every episode of WandaVision in extremely high detail. So you can also find us on our social networks, Instagram, Real Heroes Podcast, and Twitter at Real Heroes Pod. And if you have any questions for us that you'd like answered on a future video or on an episode of the show, you can email us at realheroespodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, we'll see you in the next video. See ya.